I'm sorry, do you hear me now? I am so sorry. I am so sorry. If you couldn't hear me, I apologize. I greatly apologize. I'm still learning XSplit, okay? Alright, so if you missed it, here's what I was trying to say. To recap, the Rivals Direct was, it was very great. It was very great. The voice acting may need a tiny bit of change in order for it to strike to me. However, Claren and Fleet, they can stay cinnamon rolls. However, with Zetterburn and Crag and Reno, you know, you know, um, Reno sounds like a tryhard when he plays games, despite him being peaceful. Zetterburn, I thought he was gonna sound like Alucard from Symphony of the Night. Like, every time I voice act Zetterburn, I give him this sort of Robert Belgrade feel. And Crag, he sounds too pubescent for his size and strength. However, I could very well be mistaken. Now, aside from that, with the Twitch plays thing, with the chat sometimes making asshole moves, yeah, very well is the spice. So basically, it was a very great stream yesterday. I hope you were there for it. I was absolutely amazed. There's gonna be a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of new content, like a comic book series revolving around Claren's time. Dungeons of Aether, which is a new game project with Fleet and Artemis. However, I don't like Artemis because, well, she serves Loxodont, which Loxodont I consider a fascist. Now, Fleet I would very much play, because she's a cinnamon roll. Raster still sounds like a douchebag, and always will. He's the same Slim Shady he has always been. Since Lovers of Aether. Dungeons of Aether is, the roguelite that's coming out. Creatures of Aether is the card game. Now for my score for this Rivals Direct, it's awesome. 9.5 out of 10. Very well. Very well done, very well designed. I love how it's like the Lovers of Aether style, but it's at the university. Now, for the second part, which I did not know I was muted. I'm, which hurts me because I did not intend to be muted, and yet I'm mistaken. So, okay, I need to put this in, I have to put that behind the chat so that you can still be able to see the chat. Now for this, sequel series that I'm announcing for the Tragedy of Aether, which is my fan story series revolving around the Rivals of Aether universe going excruciatingly dark and gothic as a demon lord tries to rule over the lands of Aether. And basically, it's the sequel series. I have the title down. It's, because I did not want to sound like a Castlevania title maker, I decided, like, you know how sometimes Castlevania games make music references like Rondo, Fugu, Symphony, Harmony, Concerto, you know, that stuff. I did not want to do that. So I decided, hey, let's name it our own thing. Something that's very bloody, that brings an intense punch into the series. The Tragedy of Aether, Dark Macabre. So, basically, Dark Macabre takes 100 years after. So basically, what happens is, 100 years have passed since the main events of the Tragedy of Aether. And this Clarin has a far better future, because for the end of the Tragedy of Aether series, for the prequel at least, basically Loxodon dies from his wounds from the demons, and Clarin fades away after daybreak, and the fortress just crumbles down into ruin. She fades away, but her records still remain. So everyone still remembers her efforts, despite being faded away from existence. And, basically, 100 years pass, Zetaburn is the new emperor. Yeah, Zetaburn is the new emperor, which he's gonna finish what Father started. Father Renburn, that is. And, so 100 years pass, it's now like 21XX, and Zetaburn and Forceburn have these sort of cybernetic implants that make them live for centuries. It enhances their lifespan. And it also makes them more agile, despite their age. Clarin, she had to train herself in combat to use her plasma saber, and she trained herself just in time to fight the demons. And, yeah, it does. The game looks very fun. So, with Clarin and all of this technology going around, everyone now has this sort of hover bike and hover car sort of stuff. However, it's more of a ground vehicle and not aerial. And the Air Armada developed gunships that are more efficient, dropships that are more efficient, and generally enhancing the quality of their ships. So, I'm gonna give you the cast. So, this is the sketch that I had. So, yeah, the character design is nice. So, here's what you missed, that I did not know my mic was muted for. So we got the cast here. Clarin is our main girl. So we're gonna be focusing on her side of the story. It's like she's the main protagonist, alright? So she's the main protagonist of this story series. Mick is a temporary ally, and you'll see why in a minute. Mick is an air soldier who's a sergeant of a fire team of the Air Armada, Fire Team Aeolus. And during this demon attack they had, their fire team was dispersed and was probably killed off, except for him, because he's a survivor. And Clarin happens to meet him in the outskirts of Neo Fire Capital, where his fire team went. And they happen to become good friends. And Alberio over here, Alberio, yes, Birdie. Now with Alberio, he is a coyote who's a part of the monasteries, more specifically the monastery of Excalibur. The monastery of Excalibur, which is the Fire Capital's #1 monastery in the area. Alberio, he is a faithful servant of the monasteries, and he uses a short sword imbued with light to cut through anything that's unholy. And he also has fire bound to that sword as well, so light and fire, because light is his secondary element, which light was obtained through the works of the monasteries. Now with Alberio, he is very well a warrior. Clarin, she didn't face that many design changes for my series. She's still the same as usual, with her plasma saber. Mick uses a wind gun, or basically, to put it more plainly, it's basically, think of it as a compressed air cannon. That's like the size of a normal rifle. And it uses air to launch projectiles at high speeds. More specifically, bullet speed. And his rifle, he has to manually reload it every time. But luckily, he's a speed loader. Yeah, very, it really is. I put a lot of thought into this. So Mick, so here's the thing. Here's what I plan to do with Mick, alright? When Clarin is out, trying to track down the Demon Lord, and basically, Alberio and Mick stayed together while this was happening. And everyone had this sort of, like, telecommunications device, because, well, it's the future. And so Clarin, when she wanted info on where the Demon Lord might have went, when she tried to contact Alberio, Mick picked up and said that a demon killed Alberio, and that she needs to head over to Alberio's position. And when Clarin got there, she witnessed probably the most saddest thing. Alberio had a projectile wound in his chest. and Mick's wind gun was lying by his body. Clarin was absolutely just feeling betrayed and was just full of fury because of this. It turns out that Mick had a grudge against the monasteries. So when Clarin was out and he was left alone with Alberio, Mick betrayed Alberio by shooting him in the chest. And then when Clarin tracked down Mick for answers, Mick had this sort of abyssal growth coming out of that's forming on his body. And it turns out that Mick actually had dark desires all along. So it turns out that the betrayal was just one of his dark desires. And so the two fight, and then once Mick was defeated, the Demon Lord shows up. And then that's when the final battle happens. And then when Clarin escaped from the Demon Lord's fortress as it crumbled because the Demon Lord died, and then she got onto her like hover bike to travel somewhere elevated and safe. And she watched the fortress crumble into ruin once more. And then after admiring her efforts, she heads back to report her mission to Zetterburn, who is her great uncle. So basically, Forceburn is Clarin's great grandfather, so that makes Zetterburn Clarin's great uncle. And Clarin was just absolutely devastated. She broke down in tears. She absolutely broke down in tears. And luckily, Zetterburn and Forceburn were like, pay it no mind. The betrayer is dead now. They pulled off treason. They paid for it. Cheer up. Don't feel sympathy for that bastard. And so, after all of that hard work, I'm thinking of there being another feast in the Fire Capital. So basically, they go into Alberio's monastery, and they have a feast there. Because it's a job well done. And everyone is like, all hail our new savior, Clarin! Alright, I can get rid of this now. So basically, you know the story. You know? Okay, for all of my new viewers out there, you missed it. I was talking about the, Rivals Direct a while ago. And you just so happened to miss it. So basically, recapping again, because you weren't there for it, it's very good. However, you know, I thought the voice acting would be different, but I just stuck with it because, you know, that's the least they could do. It was in this Lovers of Aether style I absolutely adored. It's flat out amazing. New stuff heading our way. And if you were there to see my sequel series announcement, good job. Oh my, high CPU usage. Basically, the Tragedy of Aether, Blood Macabre. Or, I'm sorry, Dark Macabre. Dark Macabre. So, I really wish that the Tragedy of Aether was like this sort of collaboration effort I did with Team Aether and, a few buddies of mine combined so that we could throw together something amazing. And if it ever does become a game series, I'm thinking of having it be like a Metroidvania style. Basically an action RPG platformer thing, you know. Standard stuff. Basically to reenact Iga's time when he was in Konami. Because those games were masterpieces. We peaked at 4. That is awesome. Now for Forceburn, I was thinking we could have David Hayter voice Forceburn. Because David Hayter voiced Solid Snake, and then he voiced Zangetsu, and now I wonder how well he could do with Forceburn. Because every time I voice Forceburn, I always give him that David Hayter feel. It's one of my most, according to you, I actually am amazed at how tubular. I'm actually amazed at how you said that this sequel series is going to be more tubular than the prequel. Which I believe that's a very huge step up with character design. Because we got new characters, we got a new fortress, a new story, set in the future. It's very well a job well done. So to celebrate, alright, is desktop audio on? Yes. So, so to celebrate, we're just gonna blast my favorite track. So it's from Megami Tensei 2 for the NES. It's one of my favorite tracks, really. There better not be any ads for this. And I hope so as well. Let's see. This is our celebration thing. Deathmatch. Alright, keep it paused, because we're not ready yet. So basically, I'm gonna pull up the image again. So this webcam, lights, camera, action. Alright, enough of that. You've reminisced long enough. That was a very good stream that I did. Oh my gosh. Everyone's gonna love this. So, that was the stream. Just a short little stream that lasted for a lot longer than it should have. So if you missed it, well, you can watch it as soon as it's finished processing in YouTube. Indeed it does. So as soon as this stream is finished processing, you might be able to view it again, which, when I first tried to announce it, I did not know that my mic was muted, so I unmuted it when I saw the chat going off, and I was like, oh, yes, then I'll continue. Because I know you love this. You want it back? Alright, history. Suspiciously cute. Alright. No ad. Alright, let's reel it back. Because it's an absolute gem to listen to. Come on, please load. Reel it back. Oh my god! It's awesome, really. If you want to listen to this track for yourself, I am going to put it in chat. Bang, bang. So that is the track. That was pretty much how I wrapped up this stream. It's awesome, really. That's the first ever Tragedy of Aether that ever features betrayal. I mean, if you want to, go for it. If you happen to find me there, do be careful. Do be careful because, you know, not all of my art is made for absolutely everybody. Alright, change that back to 0. Oh my. 0. Oh, oh. Alright, image is back to normal. uh, oh man. It's very nice, really. The only places that you own that where you ah you're a tweeter as well. All right, everything's back to normal. Oh my. I know XSplit dropped frames. Ah, I see. You know what would be great for me? I would have a maple. I really wish they made like fursuits for the Rivals of Aether cast. So that way, you know, let's say you know, Clarin Clarin's voice actor gets the Clarin fursuit. Same for Zetterburn, same for Raster, and so on, you know? Stuff like that. For me, I would play as, the Demon Lord that's, the main antagonist of the Tragedy of Aether, Dregador. Dregador was a former god. Dregador was a former god of the fire element. And how he fell was that he and his supporters got in a fight with the Grand Deity and all of his angels. And Dregador lost, so they sent him down into the Badlands and sealed him away. And that created the Abyss. And every supporter that he had became demons. Which, he basically took down one, let's just say 1/5 of the entire population that was up in the heavens that created Aether. 1/5 of those angels became demons because they supported Dregador. And every 1,000 years, Dregador is reawakened. and someone has to be there to stop him. It's it's a crazy thing, really. However, with Dark Macabre, he was reawakened in 100 years because because the craving for darkness has increased. It's okay, dude. And it said that in heaven for Aether there are too many angels to count. Because, there have been some that died. There have been mortals that died to become angels. It's I can see why you would be like, "Oh damn." And it's weird because these dark cults, you know, what they do is head over to abandoned, broken down monasteries to start their dark rituals. And that's what amplifies the chances of Dregador reawakening. Now something comes to mind. What if the Tragedy of Aether, the main story, um, had multiple endings? Like there's a bad ending. This can destroy your whole kitchen? Is it too loud? Well, I turned it down a bit for you, if that was what you were referring to. Oh, okay. Okay. I listen to that band sometimes. May not be very good today. Damn, that was good. That was good. Well, we need your help, Star Fox. Well, let's see. So, we pretty much got all of the... So we pretty much got all of the, you know, all the info down. The Rivals Direct, the sequel series that I announced. So, I don't think anyone's gonna come back from that. Unless if they watch the, processed. Unless if they watch the processed stuff. But, you know, it was a very pleasing stream. There may have been some audio issues earlier, but I fixed them nonetheless. Thank you for pointing that out. If you want to see more content like this in the future, like gaming, vlogs, or furry-related content, considering that like button and subscribing to this channel. Don't want to miss anything? Considering that notification bell to get notified of all new content heading your way. And this has been iiVoltageWolf, and I will see all of you in the next session. Goodbye, packmates. Be on the lookout for the Tragedy of Aether, Dark Macabre,